Are you a freelancer or entrepreneur and wish to be organized like you have the best virtual assistant in the world? I have the solution for you. Today, I will show you a simple method to stop you from procrastinating and help you create a stress-free workflow. If you feel overwhelmed by all the tasks you have every day, if you're getting traction in your business and the workload is increasing, and if you love paper and have tons of sticky notes and a crowded Google Calendar, this template is for you. I will give you a framework, a simple but effective template to organize every aspect of your life. Everyone can benefit from a well-organized planner, but especially if you are self-employed, if you manage a small business on your own or even a small team, you need a system to organize your daily activities, from work to personal life. The struggle to separate all the tasks you have to do for your work from all the other things to do in your personal life is real. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I consider myself quite organized, and I assumed I could manage my business with a printable planner and a Google Calendar. Amateur thinking. You need systems to help you in your day-to-day life. Let me show you how to get a virtual assistant without paying a dime. This Notion template will provide a solid framework for your tasks and projects and get you to a point where you can always know what you need to do and focus on what's important. But why Notion, you may ask? Well, Notion is a free app packed with features designed to maximize productivity, and if used well, it can avoid procrastination and burnout. You can use Notion for yourself or share your workspace with the team members or family. So without further ado, let's begin creating the essential planner and get working efficiently. If you don't want to follow along and create the template from scratch, you can download this planner for free by following the link in the description or the pinned comment. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is create a new page. Make the page full width and click on the three dots in the top right corner. Select small text and full width, so we have better workspace. Now let's give this template a name. We need three main databases for this planner. In Notion, databases are a collection of pages like filing cabinets, and each database serves as a container, letting you easily organize multiple Notion pages and access data in different ways. To add anything to a block in Notion, you can either click the plus icon and select the item you want to add on the menu, or hit / and type, in this case, database full page. Now that you've created your first database, let's call this database My Master Task database. Let's name this view All Tasks and select an icon. Let's go with the checkmark list. The first column contains the name property, and it is a default property. And the second one is the tags property. You'll also see that there are three default empty pages. Now let's delete them and rename the first property. Also delete the tags property because we don't need it. Now let's create our properties. The first one is a date property for when you want to perform a task. If you also want to add a due date, for example, simply add a new date property and name it due date. But for this database and this template, we don't need it, so you can skip it. The second property we'll add is a select property that we'll call importance. We'll give this property three options: important, move the needle, and not important. This property, together with the urgency, follows the Eisenhower matrix, which is a method to assign and organize your tasks based on importance and urgency. This system, combined with the focus parameter that we'll add in a minute, will create an automation that will help you sort and organize all your daily activities, prioritizing what needs to be done first and putting less important tasks on the back burner. This simple but effective system is really a game changer, trust me. Now let's add the other properties. Click on the plus sign and add another select property and call it urgency. We'll give these two options, urgent and not urgent. You can add colors to the options if you want. The third select property we need is the focus property. We'll give it three options, low, medium, and high. This property will help us establish if a task requires a lot of mental energy to complete. This method is inspired by the Eat the Frog. According to Brian Tracy, to eat the frog is a time management term that means to do your worst task first. So every morning you organize your tasks and choose the biggest and worst task to do first. Doing this will eliminate the opportunity to push it back throughout the day and not complete it. So basically, we want to place our most cognitively demanding tasks when our energy levels are the highest, preferably early in the day. And we also want to have a maximum of 2 high focus tasks per day to avoid burnout and procrastination. This is the core of the system we are creating, and in a moment we'll set up sorting rules to make our database organize our tasks by these criteria. For now, let's complete the database by adding a checkbox property, and let's call it done. You can also add a status property to select the status of a task. So as a default, you have not started, in progress, and complete. Many people like having this property, and I had it too in my planner, but with this system, I find it's quite unnecessary, so you can avoid it. Then let's add a text property for the time blocking. I'll add some example tasks to better illustrate how the system works. Now I want to create a template for every new task I'll add to the database to save time. So let's hover over the blue button and click the down arrow. Select New Template and add an icon to the page. Click back and you'll see the new template on the menu. Click the 3 dots and choose Set as Default for all views in the database. Now, when you create a new task, the icon will appear next to the name automatically. For the pages we've added previously, you can open them and select the template option on the page. If you don't see it, you can click the delete key on your keyboard and the template options will appear. Now let's go back to the homepage and see the link for our master task database. We can also select an icon for the homepage as well. And actually, you can also select a cover for this page, but I've decided to keep it very, very simple. Let's now create the second database that will hold our projects. A project database will contain work-related and personal projects, and you will assign tasks to each project. So same as before, type / and database full page. Let's call this database My Project Database. Change the name of the view and select a custom icon. Change also the name of the first column and delete the tags property. Let's add the first property, which is the due date for our projects. Then we'll add a checkbox and call it Archive to organize our completed projects. Now we'll add a relation property, which allows you to establish a link between 2 databases, enabling you to access data from one database in another. So in this case, we are relating the project database with the task database. So you have to select the correct database from the menu, or if you don't see the name, type the database name in the search box. Make sure that the limit is set to no limit. Enable the Show on My Master Task Database option, and let's call the property Project. Finally, click on Add Relation. I'll also change the name of the relation to Tasks. Let's add a text property for some notes. And finally, we can add a roll-up property to create a progress bar. After selecting roll-up from the menu, select the related database, which in this case is the task database. Now for the property we want to look up for, let's choose the done property. Now we'll select calculate, and we want to count how many tasks are marked as checked. So instead of show original, we'll select count and checked. And let's also select the bar option. Now the rollup should calculate automatically how many tasks are completed for any project. Let's call this property Progress. Now the database is all set. So let's add a few project examples. But before that, let's also create a template. Same process as before. Next to the blue button, click the down arrow and create a new template. Let's give the template an icon, click back, and make the template default. The third and last database we need is the Areas database. This database is for organizing each project in different life areas. This is the first database you probably set up when using this planner for the first time, and it is unlikely it'll change a lot. This database has just two properties other than the default name. These are relation properties for the tasks and the project databases. I've also added a few example areas and corresponding project for each. Now that we have created the main databases, let's connect the data between them and start organizing our system. It is time to set up the priority system we spoke about earlier. So in the task database, let's give each task importance and urgency options. For example, the first task is to write a project proposal. Now let's assume this is an important task and quite urgent. And in terms of energy and focus, I reckon it is a high focus task. Now, the meeting with the client A is also important, urgent, and a high focus task. Let's fill out these properties for all the examples. Now, I'm going to give this database a sorting rule, which will prioritize the most important and urgent tasks. To do that, let's click on the two arrows in the database menu and select Sort by Importance, Ascending. Then let's add another sorting option, the same for urgency, Ascending. I realized that I wanted to prioritize the urgency before the importance, so I grabbed the urgency option in the sorting menu and put it before the importance using the 6 dots icon that appears next to the name. But you can change these options according to your needs. Okay, we now have the automation in place, so we can start arranging and creating our dashboard. On the home page, let's create a toggle. Call it Source Databases and put all databases or drag all databases inside this toggle. We can access data on the database whenever we need, but I like to keep the source databases separate in basically any planner I create to avoid deleting any important data from the original database. To create the dashboard, we will use the linked view of databases, which is a much more convenient option. So let's create the first section of the dashboard. I want a calendar first, so let's write the title, call it calendar, and make it heading 1. Below, let's create a linked view of the task database. Choose linked view from the menu or type linked view after the slash. Select the corresponding database. If you don't see it, you can search it by name in the search bar. Select the All Tasks view and hide the database title. As I said, I want a calendar, so I'm going to change the layout by clicking the 3 dots in the database menu, selecting Layout, and then Calendar. You can show a calendar by week or month. I want a week first, so rename the view in Weekly Calendar and change the icon. Now duplicate this view and call it Monthly Calendar. And for the layout, I'll select Show it as a month. Now let's add the planner. So first, let's of course write the title and create a linked view of the same task database. This time I want a table view. Let's try choosing a date for the tasks so they can appear now on the calendar. Let's also select the properties I want to see in the calendar, which are the checkbox and the focus properties. But back to our planner. I want the first view to be called No Date. This is where you'll write all the tasks that come up and need sorting. And this is where you'll see the priority system in action. Duplicate this view and call the copy Daily Planner. This view will let you see the tasks you have for the current day and create your full daily schedule. Now, as an example, I've given all tasks the same date. Let's say you have a meeting with a client at 2 p.m. So let's write down the time in the time blocking column. Let's also write down the time for the project proposal. But here's the problem. If you see, I have 3 high focus tasks on the same day. And this is not good because this is probably going to drain all my energies. So let's put the third high focus task on the next day. Now I can organize the next tasks. For example, I can put the brainstorming section at 3 p.m. and the link in bio update at 4. This way, I am going to end my day with the low focus tasks that are quite easy to complete. By having my most demanding tasks early in the day, I can avoid burnout, I will get a sense of accomplishment, and I will end my day on a positive note, having completed all my tasks. So hopefully you can see how this system works. The No Date tab is now empty, and here I can write down any new tasks that comes up and give them importance, urgency, and focus options. The database will sort all tasks automatically, so I can assign them dates according to my schedule. You can grab tasks from the No Date tab and drop them directly into your calendar. Let's add a few tasks as an example. Every day, I will open my Daily Planner tab and sort all my tasks for the day the same way we did in the example, which is according to the focus rule. You can also do time blocking by using the date property and enabling include time. It's up to you which method you prefer. Now let's create the other sections. The first is going to be a view of all active projects. I'll create a linked view of the project database and duplicate it to access all projects. Let's choose the gallery layout for the first view that we'll call active. The card preview is set to none in this example. You can actually choose a page cover for each project and set the preview to page cover to make this view more aesthetically pleasing. But since this tutorial is all about efficiency and productivity, I've decided to keep this template as minimal and straight to the point as possible. You can personalize it however you like, but remember that a cluttered workspace will make our brain feel equally cluttered and unorganized. So let's keep the widgets and images to a minimum. Anyway, I want to see a few properties here, which are the area and the progress bar. Let's also mark a few tasks as completed, so you'll see the progress bar in action. Finally, let's give this database a filter that shows only the active projects, aka the projects where archived is unchecked. You can also duplicate this view and change the filtering option to checked to see all the completed projects. Now, let's move on to the final section, which is the areas. Repeat the same process as before. Write down a title, add a linked view of the areas database, and I want a gallery view of this database too in this case. Now the dashboard is complete. You now have all the essential tools to help you organize all your daily activities from work to leisure. You have a system to prioritize your tasks and create an effective and productive daily schedule, avoiding burnout and decreasing your stress levels. Honestly, this simple system has helped me enormously in my day-to-day work, and I'm sure you'll benefit from this task planner too. Of course, this is just a base, a framework that you can expand on, that you can personalize and make it yours. But this is an incentive to help you start organizing your daily activities in a well designed system. And I'm sure you will see the benefits. When you manage a small business on your own, the workload can feel very overwhelming and the anxiety levels go up. I know it by experience. But implementing a system, even a simple system like this one, can surely help. So give it a try and let us know how you feel about it. Thank you so much for following along. I hope you have created your dashboard successfully. And if you have suggestions, of course, leave them in the comments. For now, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.